Hello and welcome to Housing TV News at the top of the hour, coming to you from our studio in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Maimuna Bagudu at Top Stories. Senate urges Labour Minister to back domestic workers' bill, says it aligns with national interest. Nigerian Labour Congress issues March 1st deadline to halt telecom services. Ogun Police Commissioner vows to curb land grabbing, open grazing crisis. From the foreign scene, concerns over temporary occupancy in Wanchai government buildings. We'll begin with the Senate. The Nigerian Senate has passed 4 bills after recommitting them to the Committee of the Whole. They are the Northwest Development Commission, Southwest Development Commission, Southeast Development Commission, and the National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund Establishment Bills. Leader of the Senate, Okpeyemi Bamidele, moved the motion from the recommittal, recalling that the bills passed and forwarded to the Clerk of Transmission to President Bola Tinubu. Senator Bamidele said the action of the lawmakers relied on Orders 1B and 52 of Senate Standing Rules, 52(6) of the Senate Standing Orders. He specifically mentioned clauses 14, 15, and 4(1) of the respective bills before the Senate resolved in the Committee of the Whole.
Recalls that the following bills were passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives and were forwarded to the Clerk to the National Assembly for onward transmission to the President and Commander-in-Chief for assent, namely 1. Northwest Development Commission Establishment Act Amendment Bill 2025, 2. Southwest Development Commission Establishment Bill 2025, 3. Southeast Development Commission Establishment Act Amendment Bill 2025, and 4. National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2025. Senate observes that the funding clauses for the Commission and the fund which are proposed to be established as provided in these bills appear to contradict Section 162 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Senate is aware that Section 1, subsections 1 and 3 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended provide that the Constitution is supreme and any law that contradicts the Constitution shall be null and void to the extent of the contradiction.
In his remark, after the passage, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, thanked the lawmakers and the entire establishment.
The establishment and the committee of the whole for working on these amendments expeditiously in order to bring the various regional development bills in tandem with the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution, particularly Section 162, which clearly states that all funds accruing to the Federation shall be paid into the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, and therefore we cannot, through an act of Parliament, amend or delete that aspect of the constitutional provision. So by these various amendments, from the NYC Act to the Northwest Development Act to the Southeast Development Commission Act to the Southwest Development Commission Act, all are now brought into conformity with the Nigerian Constitution, and we shall now direct that they be transmitted to Mr. President for assent. So I thank my colleagues for their contributions, their patience, and their patriotic zeal and dedication to the service of our fatherland. I thank you all.
The chairman of the Senate Committee on Employment, Labor and Productivity, Senator Dickett Plank, Plateau Central, has once again called on the Minister of Labor and Employment to fully support the Domestic Workers Documentation and Protection Bill SB 270/2024. The bill aims to create a comprehensive record of domestic workers and their employers, ensuring workers have guarantors and they are protected from exploitation and abuse. Speaking at an interactive session with the minister in Abuja on Tuesday, Senator Plank stressed the bill's importance in setting proper working conditions for domestic workers similar to international labor standards.
It's a protective bill for both the employer and then the domestic servant. And again, economy, job creation, exclusion from exploitation. I believe that it will be good. I want to call upon the ministry that we must be on our toes to add strength to the ministry, add strength to our agencies. NSIT is under you. We would have to do a lot of oversight to be sure that people are paying, remittances done. Ministries and private agencies are meeting up their commitment.
In response, Minister of Labour and Employment Mohammed Megari Dingyadi commended the Senate for prioritizing domestic workers' welfare. He assured the Senate that the ministry is committed to supporting the bill, aligning it with international labour standards and incorporating necessary amendments from the public. The minister also suggested further consultations with key labour organizations like the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC and Trade Union Congress TUC to refine the bill.
For a very long time, they have remained among the most vulnerable groups of the labour market, facing precarious working conditions, low wages, and lack of legal protection. The ministry is all out to give it every support that is required for this to see the light of the day. We believe that this certification further strengthen our efforts to protect the rights of domestic workers as well as employees, so as to have a very peaceful atmosphere interacting between the two of them.
Away from the Senate now to national matters, the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC has condemned telecom tariff hikes despite a prior agreement with the government and Nigerian Communications Commission NCC urging an immediate reversal to avoid consequences. The telecom operators have dismissed NLC's threats, warning that any action could be seen as treason following a recent meeting between the federal government and NLC aimed at reducing the proposed 50% price hike. However, a 10-man committee with 5 members each from the government and NLC was formed to discuss telecom tariff hikes with a 2-week deadline ending this week, despite some telecom companies having already increased data prices by 50%. The NLC has warned that if the telecom operators do not revert to the previous tariff rates by the end of February 2025, they will initiate a nationwide shutdown of telecom services starting March 1st, 2025. President Bola Tinubu has stated on Wednesday that the International Finance Corporation's $50 million investment in the Lagos Free Zone reflects strong global confidence in Nigeria's economy. The presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga announced on Wednesday that President Tinubu's statement follows a Telegram initiative aimed at supporting the development of Nigeria's first deep-sea port-based private special economic zone. President Tinubu described the investment fund as proof of global trust in Nigeria's economy, highlighting it as a boost for foreign investment and industrial growth. He also acknowledged Toleram's long-standing commitment to Nigeria's economic development and efforts to drive industrialization, create jobs and foster economic growth. While appreciating the IFC's investment, President Tinubu reaffirmed his administration's commitment to fostering a business-friendly environment that attracts even larger transformative investment across key sectors. The country director, Action Aid Nigeria, Andrew Mamedu, has called on rich and industrialized countries like the United States and other developed countries in the global north to pay compensation for global emissions to poor countries in the global south like Nigeria for the many years of global emissions, which has adversely affected the health and economy of these countries. Amedu said this at a press conference in Abuja to lend his voice to the call for climate justice for poorer nations, Nigeria and other African countries who have suffered oppression and exploitation from the global north throughout the period of slave trade in the 19th century to the time of colonization.
There's an agreement that for global emission, there's a specific amount that each country should pay. And this amount that is being paid should be redistributed to countries that are disadvantaged. And surprise you to note that the global north contributes over 97% of global emission. So with that calculation, the United States has up to $80 trillion that it's owing for global emission. So between 1960 to 2050, United States alone has about 80 trillion. And with that projection, countries like Nigeria, if Nigeria is projected to what Nigeria would get $9.9 trillion as payback.
He says these wealthy nations owe Nigeria $9.9 trillion as of today from global emissions, which can take Nigeria and other African nations out of debt and poverty.
Who is owing who? I think we need to sit down on the round table and renegotiate this. It is unacceptable that particularly the global north, the high income countries, they also are indebted because of the level of risk. This loan that Nigeria and African countries, not just Nigeria, how do we come to a point where those loans are cancelled? The issue of the rates that is paid in servicing those loans, they are at fair terms to the countries. We are not the ones in debt. Actually, it's those countries that are indebted to us, and we are happy to sit on the table to start discussing this.
Let's take a look at politics. Groups within the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have rallied behind Senator Samuel Anyanwu, reaffirming their support for him as the National Secretary of the party. This move comes amidst the ongoing leadership crisis within the PDP. The National Coordinator, Honorable Henry Owolabi, PDP Youth Frontiers Network, representing progressive-minded youth groups within the party, made these known at a press briefing in Abuja to address the crisis, emphasized that Senator Anyanwu remains the legitimate National Secretary, and any attempt to remove him and replace him with Sunday Ude Okoye, Deputy National Secretary, is unacceptable. Owolabi said PDP Governors Forum and the Board of Trustees have overstepped their bounds by advising the National Working Committee to swear in Ude Okoye as the National Secretary.
Senator Anyanwu remains the National Secretary, and the attempts to remove him and replace him with a judiciary-imposed secretary without any Congress or legitimate procedural ratification of any organ of the party is hereby totally rejected. We warn all detractors and perpetrators, and indeed the judiciary, to stay clear of the internal workings of our great party and henceforth refrain from issuing illegal, baseless, porous judgments that lack legal foundation and are immoral.
We take a pause here. News stories from the build sector are up next. Stay with us.
Credible and authentic housing news at your fingertips by downloading the Housing TV mobile app. You can also join the African International Housing Show live from across the globe through the Housing TV mobile app. The mobile app features live streaming and trending housing news. You can locate the AIHS venue via the app, network with AIHS seasoned speakers, and live chat with exhibitors. You can also order house or building materials at AIHS via this app. Download the Housing TV mobile app now from the App Store and Google Play Store. And don't forget to click on the notification button. Available for both iOS and Android users. Housing TV is also on Star Times, channel 149 decoder.
You're still watching Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Now to the built sector. To kickstart the 5th anniversary of the Prosperity Government, Bayelsa State Governor Senator Doye Diri has officially launched the Governor Doye Diri Medical Outreach at Cottage Hospital, Ikarama in Yenagwa Constituency 3, Yenagwa Local Government Area. The governor flagged off the outreach by administrating the polio vaccine to children. The initiative offers free medical consultations, surgical interventions, screenings, health education and preventive services with a focus on maternal and child health, non-communicable diseases, reproductive health and minor surgical procedures. Additionally, 1,000 treated mosquito nets and nutritional supplements were distributed. The Cottage Hospital, built by AGIP between 1995 and 1998, also hosted 2 surgical procedures as part of the outreach.
The key focus of this initiative is to provide free medical interventions for the indigent patients, while minor surgeries will be conducted in this outreach. As we are here, 2 surgeries have been concluded inside the hospital. For those of the major surgeries will be referred to designated centers in Otosega, Detokoki, Sapama General Hospital, Brad General Hospital, and Nembe Cottage Hospital. This ensures that no one is left behind due to financial constraints. We will also give, as part of this project, 1,000 mosquito-treated bed nets, food supplements, immunization, and other health commodities, including aqua taps.
Your government has given all partners in Bayelsa State enabling environment to thrive, and we are proud of your government. I want to say here, in 2024, we had 5 different outbreaks, and we were able to level them to 0. Early this year, we have some issues of suspected cholera diseases, and swiftly, your government responded and gave us the enabling environment to react. WHO is available to support the state, and we are ready at all times, technically or otherwise.
We crave the indulgence of our miracle governor to do the following for us. Number 1, renovation and painting of the entire building. 2, equipping the hospital with modern health facility. 3, building 3 self-contained within the hospital premises to accommodate more staff. 4, provision of 1 bus and ambulance for effective mobility emergency cases. 5, empowerment of the indigent qualified health medical related graduates from the community.
Everything needed in this hospital will be provided by the Bayelsa State Government. Having listened to the address of His Royal Highness, the Commissioner for Health is hereby directed to look into the requests for the provision of certain equipments, including ambulances and all of it, and prioritize them and bring them for my approval.
Later that day, Governor Diri proceeded to Yenagwa, where his Cross River State counterpart, Governor Basi Otu, commissioned a dual asphalt lane road at Okaka.
Which before the coming of the prosperity government of His Excellency, distinguished Senator Doye Diri was marshy and inaccessible by vehicles and commuters within the environment during raining seasons. The dualization of 24 with bus lanes was first awarded to L&D Nigeria Limited in 2012 by the Restoration Government. former governor of Bayelsa State. The conceptualization and construction of this road was born out of the speedy expansion of Yenka over the years as the capital of Bayelsa State. Consequently, it became necessary for the dualization. This road being commissioned today is a dual carriageway that measures approximately 1,475 meters with a width of 9 meters on either side, having a shoulder of 2 meters on both sides of the road. Other features of the road includes a 15-meter diameter roundabout separated by a central median of 1.5 meters wide with dual drains on both sides of the dualized road. The dual carriageway is finished with 2 layers of asphalt, a 60mm binder course, and a 40mm wearing course, which is the acceptable standard for asphalt road construction. Road marking and painting fully carried out with installation of solar light system along the entire stretch of the road.
But let me actually appreciate the contracting firm for delivering this road, even though not at record time. And we know why it was not at record time. It wasn't your fault. The Honorable Commissioner has virtually told some of the reasons why it wasn't at record time. It's a project that we came to meet, and we knew the importance of this project. And so we decided in our spirit in completing all government projects to the best of our ability and our resources. And the people living on this road are very, very lucky. Oh, they are there already.
The essence of governance is continuity. We do have projects littered all over everywhere, which another regime comes, they abandon the projects that were started by their predecessors and move to some other new projects. But here we are, what was started by his predecessor, taken to completion by himself.
The Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Lanre Ogunlowo, has reiterated his commitment to upholding the rule of law and ensuring peace in the state, particularly in Yewa land. He made it clear that his administration will not collaborate with land grabbers and warned that anyone found engaging in such activities will face legal prosecution. Ogunlowo made this statement during a strategic meeting with the chairman of the Ogun State Oba's Council, Oba Dr. Kehinde Olubele, who is also the paramount ruler of Yewa land. Discussions focus on strengthening security in the region, with Oba Olubele stressing his dedication to maintaining peace. However, he expressed concerns over the destruction of farmland due to open grazing by herders, calling on the police to implement sustainable security measures to prevent rising tensions between herders and villagers. In response, the commissioner assured traditional rulers that the police command will take strict action against herders who deliberately destroy farmlands. He acknowledged that recent incidents had escalated conflicts between farmers and herders, leading to unrest in the region. He further stated that an immediate investigation will be launched to identify those responsible and ensure justice is served. We'll move to Lagos State, where the State Building Control Agency, LAPSCA, has marked makeshift structures, shanties and illegally developed building in Otumara mainland local government area for removal. LAPSCA General Manager Gbolahan Oki stated that all due processes were followed before marking the structures, including issuing statutory notice such as quit notices to affected occupants. According to Oki, the removal of these illegal structures became necessary as they had become hideouts for miscreants engaging in illicit activities, posing a security threat to the community. He emphasized that the state government aims to restore order in the built environment by enforcing compliance which promotes safety, legality and sustainable urban development. From the foreign scene, the Hong Kong government plans to demolish several buildings in Wan Chai, including Immigration Tower and Renew Tower by 2027. In the meantime, these buildings are being filled with temporary tenants, mainly other government offices, to make use of the space before redevelopment begins. However, some critics argue that this decision reflects poor coordination and suggests a lack of foresight in addressing the city's office space needs. Despite ongoing renovation costs, the government continues to lease private office space at a significant cost, raising concerns about the inefficient use of resources. Critics such as Land Use Advocacy Group founder Chan Kim Shin questioned whether the government anticipates a long-term surplus of office space, pointing out the high vacancy rates in the private sector and the looming budget deficit. While some lawmakers argue that utilizing these premises temporarily makes sense, there are calls for more strategic long-term solutions. The government is pushing forward with the Wan Chai North redevelopment project, but doubts remain about whether the redevelopment will attract enough demand to justify its cost. That's the much we can take on Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. Senate urges Labour Minister to back domestic workers' bill, says it aligns with national interest. Nigerian Labour Congress issues March 4th deadline to halt telecom services. Ogun Police Commissioner vows to curb land grabbing, open grazing crisis. From the foreign scene, we saw concerns over temporary occupancy in Wan Chai government buildings. For more news in the housing sector, subscribe to Housing TV Africa on YouTube and follow Housing TV on all social media platforms. Download the Housing TV Africa mobile app on Google Play Store and Apple Store to stay connected. I am Memuna Bagudu. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing development broadcasting.